It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be.
Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has found herself at the center of a political firestorm that has drawn both local and national attention. Once regarded as a bold and ambitious leader, her tenure has been overshadowed by controversies, legal battles, financial scandals, and a growing disconnect with the community. What initially seemed like a promising journey in leadership has instead spiraled into a spectacle of turmoil, mismanagement, and public conflict. Her recent actions have only added fuel to the fire. In a particularly explosive incident, Henyard stormed out of a highly contentious caucus meeting, accusing Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris of orchestrating an illegal process to undermine her authority. This confrontation was just the latest in a series of public disputes that have defined her time in office. Vowing to take legal action against those she believes are responsible for voter suppression and political sabotage, Henyard's combative approach has deepened divisions within Dalton's political landscape, further isolating her from both critics and former supporters. Perhaps the most damaging aspect of Henyard's leadership, however, has been her handling of Dalton's finances. Reports of extravagant spending and financial mismanagement have shocked residents, especially in a town where many live in modest conditions. One of the most eye-catching revelations was a $43,000 Amazon shopping spree, along with lavish travel expenses and mysterious purchases made with a Village credit card. As word of these expenditures spread, it became evident that Henyard's fiscal oversight was severely lacking. This mismanagement was further highlighted by an investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, which revealed that under Henyard's leadership, Dalton's general fund had plummeted from a $5 million surplus to a staggering $3 million deficit in just 2 years. These financial troubles were compounded by Henyard's refusal to acknowledge criticism or address mounting concerns. Despite growing public outrage, she has shown little interest in stepping down or taking responsibility. Instead, she has doubled down on her defiant rhetoric, using social media to launch personal attacks against detractors and accusing political opponents of conspiring against her. While her aggressive stance has secured a loyal base of supporters who see her as a victim of political persecution, it has only intensified divisions within the community, making her leadership increasingly unpopular. Adding to the turmoil, Henyard's administration is now under the scrutiny of an FBI investigation, further complicating an already volatile situation. With federal authorities examining her financial records, concerns over her leadership have only deepened, leaving residents questioning whether she is more focused on protecting her public image and clinging to power than addressing the town's urgent financial and infrastructural challenges. Despite the growing accusations and public discontent, Henyard has remained defiant, positioning herself as a fighter against what she claims is a corrupt political establishment. However, her combative leadership style has turned Dalton's government into a source of ongoing chaos and instability, with each new scandal adding fuel to the fire. While her core supporters continue to rally around her, many others see her leadership as a symbol of everything wrong with local governance. As the political crisis intensifies, it remains uncertain whether Henyard's refusal to back down will ultimately strengthen her hold on power or further entrench Dalton's problems. The town is now at a crossroads. Her unwillingness to collaborate and increasingly authoritarian leadership style have made it difficult for local government to function effectively. Tensions between Henyard and local politicians, especially the trustees, have reached a breaking point, with some members refusing to attend meetings due to her lack of cooperation. Meanwhile, the fallout from her controversial leadership has begun to take its toll. Calls for her resignation are growing louder, and political observers are increasingly questioning whether she is capable of leading Dalton through its financial crisis. As election season approaches, the town's future appears uncertain. Henyard's tenure has been marked by scandal, poor decision-making, and a failure to address the pressing needs of the community. However, her defiant stance has kept a loyal political base intact, and for now, she maintains her grip on power. At the same time, a new challenger has emerged, Jason House, a lifelong Dalton resident who has declared his candidacy for mayor. House's campaign is centered on restoring transparency, accountability, and financial responsibility, values that many residents feel have been lost under Henyard's leadership. His message has quickly gained traction, particularly among those frustrated with the current administration's disregard for the community's welfare. House has positioned himself as a clear alternative to Henyard, promising a fresh start and a commitment to addressing the town's real issues. As Election Day nears, residents will have to decide between continuing with Henyard's embattled leadership or choosing a new direction under House's stewardship. This election could mark a pivotal moment in Dalton's political history, determining whether the town remains mired in controversy or begins a path toward recovery. One thing is certain, Henyard's leadership is under intense scrutiny and the town's future now hangs in the balance. Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dalton, Illinois, remains at the center of a political storm that has shaken the town to its core. Once seen as a champion for the people, her tenure has been marred by mounting financial scandals, legal battles, and deep divisions within the community. While some residents continue to support her, believing she is fighting against a corrupt system, others see her as a symbol of dysfunction and mismanagement. As Dalton grapples with the fallout from her actions, the town's future hangs in the balance. Will Henyard weather the storm, or will her tenure come to a dramatic and decisive end? The coming months will determine the true legacy of her time in office. Henyard's troubles have now extended beyond local governance. Her recent failure to secure a position on the Democratic ballot in Thorne Township, a place where she has long been a prominent figure, has further damaged her political standing. The omission from the ballot, which resulted from her campaign failing to meet key requirements, has created an opening for Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, who has now positioned himself as a dominant force in the township's Democratic leadership. What was supposed to be a routine caucus quickly descended into chaos. Henyard and her supporters accused Harris and other Democratic leaders of orchestrating a plot to push her out. Her allies argue that her exclusion was politically motivated, designed to strip her of influence. Meanwhile, her critics see it as yet another example of her inability to manage even the basic requirements of a campaign. This dramatic shift marks a turning point in Thorne Township's political landscape, with power beginning to shift away from Henyard and toward Harris, whose own leadership has also faced scrutiny. As Henyard navigates the fallout from her exclusion, political observers are watching closely to see whether she can regain her footing or if this setback will be the final blow to her political career. Regardless of the outcome, it is clear that the stakes in Thorne Township have never been higher. The battle for political dominance is far from over, and the town's future remains uncertain as Henyard and Harris continue their fierce struggle for power, one that will have lasting consequences for the community. Henyard did not take her loss at the Thorne Township Democratic Caucus quietly. After being excluded from the ballot, she stormed out of the event, loudly accusing Harris of running an illegal process. She vowed to sue everyone involved, claiming the event was unfair and improperly handled. Harris, however, strongly denied these allegations, insisting that the caucus followed all established rules. He explained that the process may have been unfamiliar to many Thorne Township residents, as the township had not held a caucus in years. Despite Harris's assurances, Henyard's supporters insist the process was rigged in his favor. They accused his team of packing the room with his supporters while leaving Henyard's allies locked out. Some even alleged that the vote had been tampered with, claiming that hundreds of people were turned away. Henyard, doubling down on her accusations, called the caucus a scam and continued to threaten legal action. Her attorneys pointed to a rule that prohibits township supervisor candidates from running for another office at the same time, a rule that Henyard claimed she was unaware of until the day of the caucus. She believes this rule was deliberately used to keep her off the ballot, arguing that the process was intentionally biased against her. Harris's team, however, maintains that the rules were publicly available well in advance and rejects Henyard's claims of foul play. This latest controversy is only one chapter in Henyard's growing list of troubles, which have made her a deeply polarizing figure in local politics. Critics accuse her of mismanaging public funds for personal gain, with one of the most shocking revelations being an alleged $443,000 Amazon shopping spree, reportedly in a single day. This extravagant spending has alarmed residents already struggling with Dalton's economic difficulties. In addition, reports suggest that Henyard has spent over $100,000 on travel, food, and other discretionary expenses, raising further concerns about her financial priorities. Henyard's supporters, however, argue that she is being unfairly targeted by political rivals determined to see her fail. A preliminary investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot painted a troubling picture of Henyard's leadership, revealing a pattern of reckless financial decisions. Under Henyard's tenure, Dalton's general fund allegedly plummeted from a surplus of over $5 million to a staggering deficit exceeding $3 million in just 2 years. This dramatic shift has raised serious concerns about the village's financial health and Henyard's management of taxpayer dollars. Further scrutiny into Henyard's spending revealed that she allegedly used a village credit card for personal purchases at stores such as Walgreens, Target, and Wayfair. These revelations have only fueled the outrage surrounding her leadership, deepening the divide between her supporters and detractors. With ongoing financial investigations, political battles, and rising public dissatisfaction, the future of Henyard's EBC leadership remains uncertain. As her critics push for her removal and a new wave of political opposition gains momentum, Dalton and Thorne Township stand at a crossroads. The coming months will determine whether Henyard can survive the mounting pressure, or if her political career will ultimately collapse under the weight of scandal and controversy.